And here we are.
And here we're back.
Yes. Hello, Jimmy.
How is everything in the political consulting business? Everything good?
Everything's good. Everything's good. As I was saying earlier, it looks like you hit a nerve or you got people excited in our last podcast. And I'm excited. We've got
That's
nearly 1,000 views, and it's still a week ago, so we could get more. This is incredible.
it's incredible because I think we are hitting the nerve because with probably the only person who's going to call it out, Democrats are doing nothing. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, I don't know if you saw last week with John Oliver, and he basically said, "Wow, you guys are literally doing nothing." And I know that Jim Carvell thinks that if we do nothing, just let them screw up, that will be good enough. Not really. We
Mhm.
need to call out the lies, and we need to definitely show an alternative. Look, politics have changed. I'm going to say this. Politics have changed. The good old days where you would be careful of what you said, what you did, and don't lie, and be careful how you answer the questions and all this, those days are gone for both parties. I don't think that they are. I also think that you're going to need some type of balance. There's some idiots out there say, well, we need to go to the center. We need to recuperate those people that are with Trump. That 45% is gone. It's lost because of our stupidity. What we need to do is work the African American vote. As a matter of fact, this week, uh, Donald Trump said he does not understand why, and this was his words, the black people are not with him when he got them so many good jobs. That came out of his mouth. And what are we responding? Well, no, wait. We're not responding to that. He also made comments this week that basically about how he has returned United States to be respected worldwide. I hate to say this, Canada doesn't respect us, Mexico doesn't respect us, Africa doesn't respect us, Europe doesn't respect us. And by the way, Donald, thank you. You changed the government of Greenland from one party to the other just because they hate you. They didn't vote for one party against it. It's because they hate you. And you have become one thing centralized. Everybody hates you. But is anybody in the party saying that? No. Did you see the response of Jeffries? He has some.
I I didn't know there was another response by Jeffries. I thought he would be wise to just keep his mouth shut after his Yankees comparison.
Oh, no, no, no. He went even worse. He's all alone in front of the Capitol. None of the party people are behind him. He's all alone. He has an amateur cameraman, and I call him an amateur because he keeps going in and out. And basically, he says that all these Republicans saying that the Democrats are hiring people to go to the Republicans' town halls online. We don't have to do that, but our people are angry, and people are angry with what you're doing, or, for that of a better word, not doing. And right now, and that was his response. And he used the word bro 3 times. What's wrong with you, bro? What's wrong with? And I'm like, not sure what you're trying to do. The
I
reality is that we have a person in charge of our party who basically it was because it was his term, or it was because they were trying to keep the New York delegation happy because two large delegations are California and New York, but the job is too big for you, Jeffries. Maybe we might need to find somebody else because you're not competent at the job. But that's another story for another day.
I guess I missed a lot, Jimmy, because I missed that thing, whatever you want to call it, with Jeffries. Um, I've been fixated on the stupid ad campaign, I guess you want to call it, the memes. I don't know, the Democratic women, Congress people, pretending to be Street Fighter. character. I mean, that just kind of like fell flat, period. And then recently I saw a photo of it's Maxwell Frost in the forefront, and there's a bunch of other um, Democrats in the background, and they've got this serious look on their face. And it came off as so pretentious that I didn't even read the caption. I just looked at it as like, something, whatever. This performative attitude or in action, it's just not hitting. And you can say fight, fight, fight all you want, but again, I'm still a line from you. At the end of the day, they go home to their condos, their houses in DC, Virginia, wherever, and they still get a paycheck. They put on their nice suits and pantsuits and go right back to the Capitol. And, they sit there with their paddles that say, stop it, or, we are going to fight you, or whatever. And, it just seems to backfire on them. It just doesn't hit. When they didn't stand and acknowledge in a positive manner DJ Daniels, who the 13-year-old who survived cancer, brain cancer, and was deputized, became an official FBI agent. I saw my 13-year-old in DJ, and that warmed my heart. And it wasn't a stunt in my eyes. It was showing appreciation for a young man who is so dedicated to becoming better, bigger than himself, that the Democrats can't even stand and applaud him, or even just stand and look his way with a big smile on his face. It's things like that. These performative actions by the Democrats are just not hitting. They're just not hitting, and you get so tired with the, like what you just said, Hakeem Jeffries, bro this, bro that, Representative Crockett, child, and just just code switching. Like, come on, be your authentic selves. If you're stuffy, if you're boring, be that way. And I think that's why folks like Bernie Sanders, always hits. It's on the mark because it's his authentic self. This has always been Bernie Sanders.
That's the second problem. Now let me put. Not only do we not have leadership, and we push away those who could be leaders, like Bernie and AOC.
Yeah.
We push them away. Say we don't want you. We are becoming idiots of thinking that we could become centrists, and that we can become when the centrists have always controlled our party. Now, let's start by what I call the idiots in my party. We had the response. And what did she bring up? Ronald Reagan will be rolling in his grave if he saw this new Republican Party because he was a man of integrity. But are we going to go to Ronald Reagan? We, the party that he screwed over? We, the party that he badmouthed? We, the party that the man who started this party division? Really? That's where you want to go to? Look, we have reached a point in this country where the Republicans don't dare defy Trump, and the Democrats don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And really, at this point, people are getting fed up of both parties because they don't get it.
Yeah.
Van Jones said the other day something very important. Look, it's not about the employees at the federal government. No, it's not about Greenland or this or that. It's about the economy. We need to go out to the people and say, eggs are expensive. Food is expensive. Cars are going to get more expensive. This is bad. That is bad. Crime is down. Hey, I hate to break the news to all of you. There's not that many more deportations now than there was before. And by the way, immigration is not your problem. Your problem is that your politicians lied to you and they're taking your money to give it to Bezos, to give it to Elon Musk, to give it to Meta, and to hurt you. The only person who's benefited from Donald Trump's presidency is him, who's put more money in his pocket. because people are giving him bitcoins just to get his favor. Bitcoins were invented for the underworld, not for you and me. It was invented for the underworld. And basically, I'm going to say this, if you invest in it, you don't know anything about economics. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's already been proven to be a Ponzi scheme. It's already been proven that there's a guy in jail who stole billions of dollars. Oh,
Yeah.
well, no, wait a minute. That was last year. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you're going to say, oh, wait a minute. The president and his
That's
wife
yeah.
have a Bitcoin and it's going to be okay. They have a Bitcoin for people who say, hey, Donald, I need a favor. Deposit 25 million. Okay. Here's my proof that I deposit. Okay. What do you need? That's it. So, in fairness to everybody, gets some leadership. But I have an advice for my party. You're trying to go centrist. You're trying to deny who you are. You're going to push away all the progressives in the party. And if you do that, that's why you lost the last election, because they feel excluded. And when you kick out part of your party, trying to get part of the other party, that's dumb, that's stupid. So, Democrats, get your act together. Sit down. Us progressives will be willing to say, look, woke is not an issue. It's never been an issue. It's not a part of our platform. And call them out and say, you're lying. Let's talk about health care. Let's talk about your safety. Let's talk about the issue of the economy. Let's talk about jobs in the future. Let's talk about having good relationships with our neighbors, Canada. Stop this BS Republican lie that woke is an issue. It is not. Are there things that are wrong? Sure. You want me to bring you things of people that have been fired by Musk that realistically also have hurt our economy and have hurt our national security? We can do that. But that is where you're going to die because you're nickel and diming. Show the people that you have a leadership, show the people that you care about them, show the people that you have a plan for the future. All we have been doing for the last 8 years is saying, you're bad and I'm better. That's it. The bullshit, you're bad, I'm better. You are going to take us down the pike and you're better. We have had the politics of fear. And it
Yeah.
started in the 2000s and people forget about it. George W. Bush, George Bush got elected by saying that if the Democrats got elected, and this we forget about this, that they would be gay marriages. Okay?
Yeah.
He got won 2 elections with that single issue.
Yeah. That's true. I remember
But
that.
when we talk about that, this is something new. No, it is not. So people, Democratic Party, pull back. Yes, it's okay to try to help the distraught. Yes, it's okay to try to help the disabled. Yes, it would be nice for me to drink a glass of clean water.
Mm.
Yes, it would be nice for me to breathe clean air. But that's not the issue. Your economy is going down the tubes, and you have a thief as a president. Why? Because he's doing ABC. You have all our friends don't trust us anymore.
Yeah.
We don't have any friends. Well, yeah, we do. We have
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin.
Putin.
We have the guy from North Korea, and no, the guy from China doesn't really like us. So
Yeah. No, he doesn't.
those two. That's oh wait, I forgot Netanyahu. That's it. And for the record, Netanyahu's always liked independent from the United States, so it's no big deal.
Mm.
I wouldn't count it. But we have Europe against us. We have Africa against us. We have South and Central America against us. And our neighbor, Canada, is against us. Really?
Elbows
Why,
up.
why do we keep trying to become the 51st state when they are as powerful and as rich as we are? They don't have a big, when you say armies, they don't waste money like we do. But
Hey, I know I'm being a little facetious here, Jimmy. However, Michelle Obama now has her podcast, and it had what the last time I heard it was about 13,000 views. The Democrats have a structure problem, organizational structure problem, and throwing out a Michelle Obama podcast, that's not going to do it. And is it also not just the messaging and trying to define what really matters to Americans, difficult for the Democrats? Isn't it also the organization itself that it's time for some wholesale changes?
I've said that the Democrats need to fire Obama, the Clintons, the Bidens,
Yeah,
uh, Kamala Harris, and get new people.
yeah.
I'm going to say this again, and get new people, people who understands. And for the record, this is a podcast, and I would like you to hear it and listen to me. I do. I have nothing against podcasts, but the person who's our president today has never depended on a podcast. He doesn't have one. He's never had one. Okay, let's go out. He knows how to work the media. He goes out to the people and he talks to the people. What the Democrats do? Oh, go online and listen to my podcast, and I will. He sees the people. The people see him. Look, with all due respect, he's crazy. He's dictatorship. He has no brains as to economics whatsoever, but he's a great communicator.
Yes, he
Who's our
is.
great communicator right now? Nobody. Who carries a message that all Democrats can agree with? Nobody. Who has sat down and say, "Hey, let's talk about this. Why did we lose so massively? Let's sit down and find out." Nobody. You have a new director of the National Democratic Party who's going to go state by state. That's not going to help you at all. Why? Because most state parties, look, I'll give you an example. If he sits down with Nikki in our state, it's a waste of time. Okay,
Yeah,
whatever he's
what's
going to
the
get out of
good?
Nikki is a waste of time. Okay, whatever the other, including the treasurer and other, if he sits down with the whole board, it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
If you really want to know why we lost, we took for granted the Hispanic vote. We took for granted the African American vote. We took for granted the women's vote, and we pushed away the white male vote. So
yes,
that we spend no money in certain states, and all our money in 7 states that we lost. Wow!
all seven.
Oh, seven. The political consultants that handled the campaign, don't know where they came from, but they're as dumb can be. Uh, their strategy did not work.
And the
We
sad thing is they'll be right back at it the next cycle.
Not
They'll,
really, not really.
really?
I think it's time that we get somebody outside of the party running and doing what needs to be done. Look, they were petrified twice. Okay, it's
Okay,
a couple of elections because they were petrified twice from Bernie because they
yes,
had never had crowds like Bernie. They
that's
had
right.
never had an organization like Bernie. Bernie went to Puerto Rico and he went to the University of Puerto Rico and he talked to the youth there, even though the amount of votes that he was going to get down there were very limited in the
Yeah,
totality of winning a primary nationally. But he wanted to meet with the people.
that's what
Hillary
matters.
never went. She
Yep.
won down there because the corrupt organization of the Democratic Party down there runs the primaries. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily run by the government. It is run by the local party because it's a local primary. So the fact that she won doesn't uh, doesn't surprise me, particularly when they made an effort to close down all the ballot places where the youth were close to the universities and all those ballot places were closed. And then they started to say, "Are you a registered Democrat?" For Pete's sake, nobody in Puerto Rico is registered as a Democrat. So when you talk about our party, yes, look, all of you old timers, get the hell out, move it. Let
Mhm.
somebody come that is new. And I would like to see a leader like Bernie, who you might be afraid of him, but he attracts a lot of youth and a lot of other people. I would
Yeah.
like to see somebody new. I'm afraid that Newsom is trying to buy his way out by saying, well, if I'm not as left as I used to be, now I'm a new guy. Newsom, you're not the guy. Uh, the lady that they put for the response, you're not the person either.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who, but I think it's time that make look. Let's think outside the box. Who's
Hmm.
running the Republican Party right now? Was he a state senator? Was he a governor? Was he a city councilman? Was he a TV celebrity? And all of a sudden he came down the escalator and he said things that the people wanted to hear,
Yeah.
that we thought were crazy, that we thought were outside the box, and they were completely inappropriate. And he won his election.
Yeah.
People are sick and tired of being patronized by my party saying, I know better than you do. I know what to do. You are an idiot, and I'm an elite. No, the elites need to go. Those who think that they know better than others need to go. Those who are making their living as being professional politicians need to go. We need to serve the people. And those people who live in D.C. live in a bubble of CNN, MSNBC, Fox News that is not the rest of the country. Okay?
Hmm. Right.
So it's time for the party to change drastically.
Again, I love a good fight in politics, and the two parties opposing one another will give you a good fight. However, the opposing party right now to the Republicans are a very weak contender, and it's frustrating to see the the hits just miss almost every single time. And regardless of what side of the argument you are on Trump, you have to admit the bravado, the consistency, and the staying on message, regardless of the pushback, regardless of the resentment, it has been effective. Like you said, Jimmy, it has been effective. As crazy as it may seem, he doubled down, tripled down on Canada being the 51st state. I don't get it. I understand the emphasis on Greenland and Panama, but Canada, I I don't get it. I don't get it, but he is unrelenting. And that is what people here in America that support him, or even on the fringes of supporting him, have said that's what they want. They want their own personal bully. They want an American bully. And again, I said this in the past. I have a friend, a young Latina, married, um, doing well. Her and her husband, young couple. And when I asked her about who she was going to vote for in November 2024, and she's a registered Democrat. Her and her husband, she said she's voting for Trump. And it's like, wow, really? Why? She said he means what he says and he does it. Period. He just tells me what he's going to do, and he's going to do it. And with the Democrats at that time, and even now, they just double down on the culture wars. And I said, well, Trump. I told her Trump has talked about being a dictator the first day, or just running America with a firm hand. And she said to me, David, sometimes we do need to be led by the hand. Sometimes people do need to be led by leaders. And it was such a profound statement, and I'm paraphrasing. It was such a profound statement that it has stayed with me. I'm sure I'll quote it again or paraphrase it again. But that's part of the sentiment or the feeling I hear and some of the Americans who may not have necessarily supported Trump the first time he ran, but supported him this time because they see the strong man that is going to get things done in protecting America, and they believe that they are being protected.
No, no. There's no doubt he's a showman.
Yeah.
He will give you the impression that he's doing things that he's not. Look, Greenland, I don't know why Americans are fascinated with it because Greenland is not never going to happen. Greenland is, if anything, might become an independent country before it ever becomes part of the United States. And Greenland is part of what I call the lie. The lie is that we really is national security. Bullshit. It's because the people who Trump is a puppet for, the rich and the powerful, they want the minerals in there. So get me Greenland so I can go into the minerals. Look, prime example. What are they doing with Ukraine? We want your minerals. Yes, they're not. That's what they. Does he want it for himself? No. Is that going to benefit America? Hell no. That's going to benefit his rich friends who have bought him out, and they're going to take those minerals. They're going to sell it to us, and they're going to make $1 billion and billions of dollars. We're going to be poorer, and they're going to be richer, and that's it. The problem is that he's like a magician. Look here, Greenland. It's going to be good for our national security, and it's going to be even better for my friends who are going to make money off of it. The Panama Canal, Chinese, yes, but the Chinese is an excuse that he's going to use a lot because he's conceded Africa to the Chinese. So maybe that he's going to say, okay, now I got grounds to invade China because I conceded and say, hey, take it over. As a matter of fact, there's a joke right now going on that says that basically you're better off if the United States gives you a kick in the room because then the Chinese come and give you a lot of money. So, it's, it is what it is. But realistically, really, are you people happy that your best neighbors, your friends, your people who speak your same language, people who have been feeding you, giving you electricity for years, are pissed off with us? That makes you happy? That's a strong attitude in this country? It's a stupid attitude. How can you call insulting Canada? He cannot make Canada the first one state. It's not presidential. It would have to be the House and the Senate, and Canada would have agreed to it. He's bullshitting you. He's lying to you, but you're buying it. It's never going to happen. Okay? Yeah. There's more chance that Puerto Rico becomes a state than Canada. Why? Because some people in Puerto Rico want it. In Canada, nobody wants it. Canada is an independent country. Get that through your thick head. Canada is an independent country. And we are not as powerful as we used to be. If you think we could take military in Canada, you're full of you know what. So it's not going to happen. Look, he talks a good talk, and I agree. He's a great communicator. Is the economy better right now? No. Are things more expensive? Yes. Are things going to get more expensive with the tariffs? Yes. Let me say something. You said 10% of tariffs on everything coming from China. Well, guess what? 62% of everything that you buy in this country comes from Canada. From China. The iPhones you use, China. The Samsungs and that you use, Canada. Most of the other products that you use here on a daily basis comes from Canada. You're saying I'm going to put a tariff on iron from Canada? No big deal. It comes from China. And that China one has a tariff, and guess who ends paying it? Sorry, idiot on the podium of the White House. No. Who pays the tariffs is us. Because what happens is you bring in your product, it's 10% more, so the buyer just passes it to the consumer. And guess who's the consumer? You and me. So this idea that tariffs are helpful, look, let me explain to you where Donald Trump comes from. This one.
Okay.
Donald Trump in his mind believes the BS that Peter Navarro and other people from Fox News have so. If we keep those products outside of us, that will force American manufacturers to do them here. No. If they can't get it from China, then what they'll do is those products that China sells to Europe will bring them in with no tariffs. It's a game. Second, you couldn't build factories that quick and leave this country 2 to 3 years without iron, without other products, because it will take you 3 to 4 years to get the permits, to buy out the politicians, to get everything that you need to open the factories here. And to be quite honest, we have been preparing our kids, middle class, poor, are telling our kids, don't work in factories. There's no future there.
Right.
Go to college, be a professional. So what? You're going to send people with a college degree to work in the factories?
No.
No. So with all due respect, Donald, I know the BS that if we keep these products out, that will force us to manufacture them here. No, it's not going to happen. And it can't happen that fast. So the only reason for a turf, and I'll give you an example, a good turf.
Okay.
Reverse. China produces the best car in the world.
Yes, the BYD.
We don't want to say it, but they produce the best one.
Yes, they do.
But because all politicians are in the back pocket of the people in Detroit, there's some heavy threats for bringing that car into this country.
I want one.
Huh?
I want one. It's a beautiful car, Jimmy.
It is. And it's well manufactured and it's more reliable than any car that's made here. We all know that. But the tariffs on that car
Ooh.
specifically are almost 300%.
Yeah.
You could get a Mercedes cheaper than that car. People will tell me that it's better than a Mercedes. That part I do not know, and I can't get into an argument. But the reality, that's a good reason for a tariff. But to say that everything that comes from China, everything, look, most of your pen refills come from China.
Mhm.
Simple as that. You're right. Most of that ink is produced in China. It's not produced here. As a matter of fact, yes, we buy other things that you might be capricious, but 80% of everything that right now we're going through a computer, the chips, and I mean, not the chips, but most of the things that of this computer were made in China. So the boxes of your desktop, made in China. The boxes of your laptops, what's that? People, you need to understand the idea that being tough, sometimes you have to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
it's
correct.
not if you fight, it's when and how. And right now, the when is not necessarily right now because our economy is doing very well and screwing with it is kind of stupid. But how is not just everything that's stupid. Okay, this thing is competing with us. Let's put it also. And by the way, the response to us putting tariffs on their products, they're putting tariffs on ours. And guess who's hurting? Our farmers, our small businessmen, and stuff like that. Because basically, if you're on Etsy and you want to send something to China, and if they're marketing China for Etsy, I think they will answer you yes. And I'm just using Etsy because that's one that most people know. Because if I go to other small company, look, right now, everybody's talking about artificial intelligence. And supposedly the best programs out of artificial intelligence are not made here, they're made in China. So if you want the best, it's going to cost you 10% more. Just saying. Do we really need to pay 10% more? No. And this is where I'm going to end it. Donald, explain to me in simple words how does a turf on things that we need help my pocket? We're about to enter into recession, and guess who has caused it? You idiot. Well, you
I agree with you. There are certain tariffs that are used appropriately that are helpful to the economy. I do agree with that. I do agree that China is a threat to the not just the American economy, but the world economy. But it's us, the United States of America, versus China, and particularly in the technology field, uh, having those GPUs that are the foundation for the newer, more efficient. Um, Artificial generative intelligence platforms, it's a neck and neck race between the United States and China, and whoever dominates that space will dominate artificial intelligence in many applications moving forward, including robotics. Now, saying that, going back to the tariffs, if we do what China does to avoid the tariffs here, they would ship the raw materials for a particular product to Mexico. And then Mexico will assemble the products because the labor is cheaper than here in America, and then ship it to America, thus avoiding the tariffs. Now that's supposedly it's all cut off. Now that there's tariffs on Mexico, and these tariffs are the stick and not the carrot that Trump is using to say to Mexico or Canada, hey, let's do this the right way. Free trade is free trade. We get it. But let's do this the right way. If we're avoiding tariffs, if we're avoiding the rules of economy, then these tariffs, this tariff battle, fight, war is going to continue. I get it. The president wanting manufacturing to return to America. Now, we all have been told, and it's pretty much a proven fact, that it's not the loss of jobs to foreign countries, manufacturing jobs to foreign countries, um, that is the cause of lower or smaller manufacturing in the United States of America. It's automation. And we're seeing in our fast food restaurants, automation is going to be here, and it's going to stay here. And with AI, it's going to be even more prevalent throughout our economy. If we are able, Jimmy, to have the raw materials of these foreign companies, for instance, and the raw materials for a particular product is sent to America, and the product is manufactured here. Theoretically, I would think that would avoid a tariff. I'm no expert like Peter Navarro, but I would think that will be the beginning of a robust manufacturing boom here in America.
You know, we tend to talk to two sides of the mouth. And for the record, Peter Navarro is no expert in tariffs, no in economy. He's a moron. But, and I'll call him that. Peter,
Yes.
okay. But let's clarify two things. One,
Okay.
and I'm going to use a couple examples just to prove where we need to think. Free market,
Okay.
Apple, situated in Seattle, Washington. There's their headquarters.
I thought it was
Supposedly,
Cupertino, California, or something like that.
okay. Supposedly,
Microsoft is in Washington.
yeah. Supposedly, an American company.
Yeah.
Their products are Apple laptops, Apple desktops, Apple uh,
iPhones.
tablets, and Apple phones.
Yeah.
The American company has chosen to manufacture all of its products
Mhm.
in China. Did anybody force them?
No.
Did anybody say you had to?
No.
Did anybody in America make them a great offer of a factory here with no? Why did they do it? Three factors. One is dead cheap. Okay, they're cheap to do it there. Two, they can really keep their people tight and on a leash, so
Yeah.
nothing leaks about their products,
Good point.
which is a good thing for
Good.
them, not for maybe the workers, but for them. But three, here's where it becomes interesting. They do not have to pay most of the taxes in this country.
Mm.
So that's one. Let's get the next one. I don't know if you saw one of the Jason Bourne movies in which it was not done by Matt Dillon, it was done by somebody else.
Okay.
And he went to a factory, a drug factory in the Philippines.
All right.
Okay, truth of the matter is, we don't produce any of our medications here. Even Madonna during the COVID thing showed everybody that that was in Europe. Why not? Again, because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Why? If you look at the factory, and that factory does exist in the Philippines among five others, it is very in that tight. They have a security system that is under control. And four and three, they manufacture pills that because they're cheaper, the rest of the world can buy them. And in the United States, we pay the triple for what they pay in Canada and other things. As a matter of fact, tourism in Canada and in Mexico is people buying pills. Okay.
Right.
They have a prescription and they come through the border and say, "What's your bill?" "Well, I want to fill out my prescription." "Oh, okay, fine. Not a problem. You have a prescription. You're not here to, okay." And there's people in California who go once a month and get their medicines in Mexico and they pay 1/10 of what they would pay in the United States. Okay, why? It's the same medications, just that here we tend to charge more. Why? Because we put the addition of all TV commercials that they put in there to convince us that we should buy Fasica for a heart condition. Be that as a commercial. Ah, that's two companies. Now I could go to a third company that might surprise most of you. Detroit is scared. Is scared because most of the auto parts are done in South Korea and in Mexico. Why? Those two are strictly because they're cheaper. Okay,
Sure. Yeah.
a brake pad is not any intellectual secret how it's done or made, or so that part they don't care about. It's just pure price. So, with all due respect to everybody, the companies here in this country have chosen on the free market, and I'm not criticizing them, to
Sure.
manufacture their products
Sure.
outside of the United States because it's cheaper.
Hmm.
Okay? Look, Walmart started in the 90s a campaign, Buy American.
Oh yes, I remember that. I
Okay?
remember.
And people they would have a product. This was made in the United States. Okay, how much is it? $10. This was made in China. How much? Two. Okay, give me the $2. That's us. Okay, that's on us. We try to criticize this or we look. What Donald Trump has done is sell you an illusion that we're going to bring back manufacturing. It can't. Why? Because we can't compete on price. We can't. We wish we can. That's the second thing is that right now the best chips in the world come from Taiwan.
That's correct. TCMS, I
The
think it's the
best
name of the company.
chips in the world come from Taiwan. They're in our computers. They're in our phones. They're in our cars. And basically right now we let it go. Look, I like to think of the United States like Steve Jobs. Brilliant man, but an idiot beyond my comprehension. When they made the first PC, there was a Bill Gates there. There was another young man, I can't remember his name. And basically, Bill Gates had worked the software. Okay? Software. The other young man had dealt with the chips.
Steve Wozniak.
No,
It's for.
no. Steve Oxiana was in still with Microsoft.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
They say to and Steve Jobs, how we're going to do this because they felt that it was a one company. And Steve said to them, I don't want to deal with software. I don't want to deal with chips. The money's to be made is in the computer. What he didn't realize that a computer without software doesn't run.
That's
That a
right.
computer without a chip doesn't run. The gentleman went and created Intel, which we see those on all our computers. And the other gentleman we know is Bill Gates, who created Microsoft, who created the one that we all remember, his biggest hit and where he became a billionaire was with Windows 98, where he almost lost his shirt, was in Vista. Then he
Yeah.
came back with Windows 8, and he made some serious money, 10 and so on. The truth of the matter is that really today, we have to understand that it is not really our fault. It is our leadership who has allowed products to go away, who has allowed in the free market expense that we buy cheaper products from China, that our companies like Apple, like all the pharmaceuticals, like perfumes are not made here anymore. Paper is cheaper from other places. So basically, it is as basic as look, Ocean 13. They make the dice in Mexico. If you remember that movie, they make the dice. We don't manufacture here. Why? Because the people who order products and who have that control find that China's cheaper, Mexico's cheaper,
Yeah.
Canada's cheaper, and it, look, we get electricity from Canada because they have an abundance, but because it's cheaper to buy from them than for us to produce it. Simple as that. We in the north of the United States buy electricity from Canada because it's cheaper to buy from them than for us to produce it. That is the real world. And that is a problem that we have in the economy, that is the message we need to get out. Look, people, factories are not going to come back. Let's come and find a new America. How are we going to make? Look, we have not been a manufacturing country since the 90s. As a matter of
Sure.
fact, the last big industrial things was in the 80s. So we're 45 years away from the last industrial. Bringing back factories, is that going to improve our economy? Not really. Is it going to make us richer? Not really. Is it
Mhm.
going to make us more powerful? Not really. But does it sound good? Yes. If we throw out all the illegal immigrants here, is this country going to be more financially secure? Not really. Are we
Mhm.
going to have more construction? Hell no, because we don't have anybody to construct. But we are being sold a bag of bullshit by the Republicans and the Democrats. All they can do is say, well, we need to be as woke as possible. Let me make a study. Mr. Font has a problem because he used bullshit and he calls us that morons and he calls us stupid. Hey, I learned that from the leader of the Republican Party,
Yeah.
even though that's always been my style, and that's why I couldn't get elected as a Democrat because I do not sugarcoat it to you. I will never sugarcoat it to you.
That's right.
I will tell it as it is, and that's what we need in our party. Bro is not going to cut it.
That's true. I agree with you.
Invoking Ronald Reagan in my party
Why?
doesn't,
Why?
does and saying we need to go to the center. Hey, you just lost with a centrist running for president because nobody's more centrist than Kamala and nobody's more centrist than Biden. As a matter of fact, Biden was a centrist to the right, and
Yeah,
the
that's true.
Republicans found a way to make him look like a liberal.
That's right.
Okay, well, let me say something. Has anybody know which church that does Donald Trump go to? When he was in New York, he never went to church. And
That's
when he's
right.
standing in Florida, he's never been to church. And as president, he doesn't go Sundays to church. But he's the great Christian leader of this country. He's more of an atheist, but hey. So when people tell me, what are we going to do in my party? It's change. come up with the times, talk the truth to the people, and stop worrying about being politically correct. Stop worrying about being a centrist and tell them how you're going to fix this country. And go back to our roots, which was the middle class, working person, and working and fighting for them. I don't care if you went to college. That doesn't impress me. I
Yeah,
don't care if you read and a thousand books. That doesn't impress me.
yeah.
I don't care about any of that. Tell me how you're going to fix the economy. Tell me how you're going to fix the things so I can have eggs more regularly. And tell me how you're going to make things good with the rest of the world. I don't like the rest of the world hating us. That doesn't make us strong. That makes us stupid.
That's some very valid points, Jimmy. I want to go back to the tariffs and just the larger economic agenda here by Trump. And when we see the tariff wars going on, we also see an emphasis on deregulation, whether it is the environmental protection laws
Hmm.
or labor concerns and laws. Jimmy, by attacking the established law and regulation, reducing those protections, does that go hand in hand with the tariffs and thus lowering the cost of doing business here in America? Because the labor costs, it, it is what it is. That's the American labor market. It's going to be expensive, and it's going to be more expensive than labor costs across overseas. So, is what Donald Trump and his administration trying to do is lower those barriers, as they will call them, to competitiveness by defunding certain government programs or reducing the benefits or just outright closing down whole divisions of like the Department of Education or the IRS or USAID or even regulation at the FTC or SEC. And I know I'm going on and on, but what do you think about that, Jimmy?
Look, it's not an economic plan. It is a revenge plan. It is
Mm,
not an economic plan that if you take away certain regulations, that's going to put money in the pockets of you and me. It's just going to make it simpler for some people to do business, and they make the money. We don't, and
mhm.
we don't benefit from it. So, no, it's not going to help the economy. The truth of the matter is that he said it and he keeps saying it. He's here to cut down heads. He's here to get his revenge. He's here to get his pound of flesh. Republicans for years have said we want to eliminate the Department of Education.
Mhm.
Look, Florida receives money from the Department of Education. And if you take it away, well, schools are going to be seriously affected. Yeah. Should parents be paying for those things? Not all parents can. We know that. So it's a
Right.
kind of a stupid comment to make. Uh, are some of these programs uh, not beneficial? Look, Florida, and I'm going to use my state as an example. When DeSantis went about woke, there was never woke in the state. Okay, there was never woke in the state. But if you
Right.
can say that taking away programs for kids with autism is going to be good, uh, then you're going to have kids with autism without treatment. And if you think that's good, well, more power to you. If you think that's going to put money in your pocket, that's stupid. Uh, Look, cutting without a plan is my problem. Look, is there waste in government? Yeah, but it's not waste in government because of the employees. Look, and I'll give you the Department of Defense. They will have always been overcharged for products
Yeah.
because the defense contractors put money in the pockets of the politicians, and the politicians say to they appropriate to the defense department to pay for a tank 25 times more than the same tank is sold for to Israel or sold to Mexico or sold to Canada because these people are going to make up their money. So can somebody please explain this to me? There's a lot of waste there. Is there waste in Social Security? Not really. Are there more employees that they need? Depends what you want to say. Are the high hierarchies paid more than they should probably deserve? I'll give you that one. Are people ripping off the system? No. Who's ripping off the system are the rich who don't pay their fair share for the Social Security taxes, because you only pay Social Security taxes for your first $165,000. What happens is that Social Security was an economic plan based on whatever the economic of the country was. That's how it was support. So basically, because the rich don't pay, the middle class and the poor are screwed. But that's typical of our country. So when you ask me, does the TERFs help our economy? I don't see how. Look, TERFs are paid by us. If you say 10% on China, okay, this pen costs $10 plus one. Now it's going to cost you 11. Who's paying the 11? It's not China. It's us. So, do you really want to put TERFs on products that we get from Canada, our nearest neighbor, our best ally, and basically it's free market? If they want to sell for $2 and we want to buy it for $2, that is the basic concept of free market. Sorry, concept of free market. Hey, how much you want? $2. Okay, I think it's a good price. Here you, I'm buying for it. That's free market. For you to say, well, yeah, but I'm going to put a turf on that. That's not free market. That's anti-free market.
Jimmy, before we get to the fuck up of the week here, um, the country is facing a potential shutdown of government, and we haven't had a government shutdown in maybe a decade or so, maybe more. This could be, with all the cuts already and the disruption that the Trump agenda has made in government, this could be detrimental to the safety and well-being of Americans. Democrats have very little options. And you just laid out over this last, 50 or so minutes, an argument for the opposition to say that this administration, this presidency, this president is a fundamental threat to the economy and democracy. What will the opposition, the Democrats, do in these waning hours before the government shuts down? What will the Senate Democrats do?
I don't think they're going to do much. I don't think that Republicans, Democrats are going to do much. Look, what they should do, and this is my opinion, is a Bill Clinton. You forget about Bill, but they try to bully Bill into doing something that he didn't think was in the best interest of the country. Say, shut it down. And then who got blamed for it? The people who shut it down. And who shut it down? The Republicans. They paid a hefty price in the next election. If the Democrats want to do something, hey, let's stop pretending. There's 53 senators that are Republican, and there are 47 that are. There's very little we could do in the Senate other than bitch. But let them fight among themselves. Encourage it. Put fire in their face. Let them do it. Because realistically, with all due respect, if the government shuts down, it's going to be in their ballpark. They have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the President. There's no way they can blame us. No way. It's going to be there. But at the same time, I understand the dilemma. If the budget passes and there's $800 billion left for Medicaid, and that starts hitting immediately the American public, and people with medical conditions don't get treatment because of cuts of Medicaid, that's also might be beneficial for Democrats. When all of a sudden there's other agencies that are going to be suffering because of cuts that have been done, that's going to be interesting. And when all of a sudden Elon Musk starts hitting Homeland Security and fires agents from Homeland Security and the borders start opening again, that would be beneficial. So basically, at this point, Democrats have no power. But
Right.
I understand that there's Republicans that are concerned about the cut of $800 billion to Medicaid. And there's not $800 billion of Medicaid fraud. Sorry, there isn't. That's
Right.
bullshit. So at this point, if it's closing down, it's because the Republican Democrats in the Senate cannot get their act together. And
Mm.
then who shut it down was the people that you put in control, the House, Senate, and the president. And guess what? If it closed down, the president's so stupid, he's going to say, okay, let it close down. Hey, it's your party who closed it down. But I'm not sure if the Democrats are organized enough, and between two or three of them have a half a cell of a brain, is how to put a plan together. We gave them a plan at the beginning of this. They,
Sure did.
they ignored it. So basically, let's go to the fuck up of the week.
All right, let's go to the fuck up of the week, Jimmy. What
This
do we
one,
have today?
this one is kind of interesting.
Okay.
They have made certain announcements about things that are happening. The fuck up of the week is basically the people have been told that he was going to be tough on immigration.
That's correct.
People who thought that that would be good. Well, this week they put out the numbers.
Hmm.
And the numbers that came out of people being deported are kind of bad. But he opted to improve his numbers to take away the permits that were given to people from Venezuela,
Yeah.
to people who come from other countries who are communists and so on, and say, hey, we did give you these permits. For the record, you are here legally. But by one stroke of the pen, I have decided to make you illegal. And by the way, I know where you live because you're registered with me, and I'm going to go and pick you up, put you on a plane, and send you back home. That's all done to improve numbers. Fuck up is that really right now, you're showing the people in this country that you don't know where these illegal people are, that none of these people have committed a crime, and that basically you're going to have to take those who are here legally, make them illegal so you can deport them.
Mm.
Realistically, your numbers are lower than Obama, and they're more or less the same than Brandon. Oh, excuse me, Biden. Uh, shouldn't use that word. Democrats get pissed off when I use it, but that is the truth. You have a fuck up because now the Venezuelans and all those other people that voted for you because you promised that you're going to keep this program in place and that you're going to accelerate their way to becoming citizens have not been betrayed. So right now, that is the biggest fuck up of the week. You have made people who are here illegal in order to bring up your numbers of people that you're deporting because your new czar is an idiot who can't find. As a matter of fact, if you look to John Oliver, it's kind of interesting. They went to different apartments thinking that they would find people, and there was nobody there. And somebody at the end just said, I wonder if our intelligence is that good. Look, there's 3 steps ahead of you, people. They know when you're coming.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, just for all of you, 3/4 of the people who work in ICE are Hispanic. Or like Fluffy likes to call them, traitors! So with that, I hope to see you next week. And
Yes.
remember, subscribe, like, unlike. If you're in your comments, tell me how great I'm doing. And if you want again to call me the great crazy Democratic uncle, I'll take that too. But if you want the truth, you have to come here. If you want BS, Go other places. If you
Yeah.
want interviews with people who are celebrities and they talk about how their feelings are, and I don't care, go some other place. Here, we're going to give you the raw truth. See
Amen
you
to
next
that.
week, everybody. Take care.
Take care, Jimmy. Thank you.
Thank you.